let's think for a few minutes about what buyers want. Well, for one thing, we've got to understand what is their motivation. Are they truly motivated to buy? We've got to understand the buyers. And if we don't understand the buyers and understand the style and the way that they like to be, that they would like for you to relate to them, then we are not going to be so successful. We've got to understand their needs and understanding their wants. Now, is there a difference? Well, sure, there's definitely a difference, because a lot of us ourselves want a lot of things that would not be a need. So understanding their needs and then understanding their wants is so important. Now, let's look at some statistics from the National Association of Realtors survey of buyers, and that was in 2007. These buyers that were surveyed, and there was a very large number of them, and they were from all different walks of life, different economical status, and also there was a lot of them that were very young buyers all the way to buyers that were 75 and even older. The most important things that came across was that the number one thing that the buyers want in houses is central air conditioning. Now, we would think that that is very important in the South, wouldn't we? But in some locations, you wouldn't think that would be that important. But it is. The number one thing that people want in houses is central air conditioning. Now, number two, believe it or not, oversized garages. More than one garage, they're saying. And this is what we have found according to the survey. We'll look at a few more details on these too. What about walk-in closets? That was number three. And these walk-in closets were not as important to first-time home buyers as they were to repeat buyers, and they were even more important to the more mature buyers. But they definitely wanted those walk-in closets. And I'm experiencing, and I bet you are too, that in the master bedrooms, or off from the master bedrooms, many people are wanting a his and her closet, because his closet might stay awfully neat and hers stays awfully messy, and they don't want them together. Or just the reverse. It could be that he's the one that keeps his closet awfully messy, and she is the one that keeps hers awfully neat. But if that's a possibility of finding two walk-in closets, that is a real asset. Another thing that they're wanting is access to technology. Are we going to have cable here? Are we going to have satellite? What is the situation? And believe it or not, the mature ones were the one that were most emphatic that they had to have access to internet. And number five reason for buying a house, the thing that they wanted, the most important, was energy efficiency. And we will find that a lot of the buyers, particularly in certain age groups, are wanting energy efficiency. And that really shouldn't be so surprising to us, since we hear so much about this on TV, in the papers, and just any of the news media. The central air conditioning, let's look at these broken down individually. It was more important in the South and the Midwest, and it was more important to repeat buyers. The higher percentage of buyers purchasing new homes also expected air conditioning. So they were, some of the buyers were willing to accept a home that was not a new home without air conditioning, but if they are buying a house that is new, then they must have air conditioning. And then number two reason for buying a home, the importance, was oversized garage. The buyers of new homes expect to have 2 or 3 garages, and the buyers in the West and repeat buyers accounted for the larger percentage. Now, the new home buyers The younger buyers, as a general rule, didn't pay that much attention to a garage because maybe they have just come from college and they haven't had a garage to park in anyway. They're not thinking yet about a garage for storage. And then walk-in closets. Let's look at the breakdown on this. The buyers of new homes said that 78% of them said they must have walk-in closets. And with the repeat buyers, 61% said they had to have a walk-in closet. And the buyers in the South, for some reason, said 66% said we've got to have walk-in closets. I don't know why that would be necessarily from the South, that they had to have walk-in closets, because you would think in the northern states where they have to have so many boots and big coats and that they would need more walk-in closets for all of that equipment. But according to the survey, it was 66% of all buyers in the South said that walk-in closets were very important. Look at this. Technology and being able to assess technology was so important. It was a must in new construction. And the highest percentage who wanted internet was the group from 55 to 64 years of age. And you see that overall there was only 40% that said technology or having the ability to get the technology was that important. But this it tells us something about those 55 to 64 years of age. They're into that internet. 80% of the buyers indicated that they used internet before the house search began. So this tells you something about how much they're looking at those houses on internet before they ever come to you. And I have been told personally by more than one person that when they're searching for houses on internet, if there's one picture, they just go on. They don't even pay any attention to that listing at all. They have to have a tour, or they have to have several pictures before they will become interested in even gaining more information about that particular property. So that tells us something when we take listings, that we certainly have got to go ahead and make sure that we put a lot of pictures on there. 60% said even during the home search that they were going to the internet and were still searching out. They were trusting you as the buyer's agent to go ahead and find things for them to see, but they're doing their research themselves. Or maybe they're going to the internet to search out those things that you have shown them and see if there's additional information on that. Energy efficiency. 92% of all the buyers surveyed said energy efficiency was very important or somewhat important. Repeat buyers really rated it higher than the first-time home buyers. That goes back to the fact that first-time home buyers, in many cases, never having owned a house before, have not thought about the different things that are so important to them or could be important in the future. Repeat buyers have lived with a house maybe that is less efficient, and they've had the high utility bills, and they're thinking about maybe trimming those utility bills, or at least not having more a higher utility bill when they move into a larger house. So this is just a way that repeat buyers are rating this energy efficiency, that they must have an energy efficient house. Buyers expect higher efficiency in new homes. I believe that would be a natural reaction there. And then more mature buyers gave it a high rating because they are thinking about trimming those utility bills and living more efficiently, maybe because they're retiring. Now that we have gotten a little bit of insight into what a great number of buyers are looking for, let's turn to the process and let the process begin. We've got to educate ourselves by asking a lot of questions. And in the meantime, we're educating them. Asking a lot of questions, but first getting permission to do so. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, if you don't mind, may I ask you a few questions? Probing questions. Questions that are designed to understand their wants, their needs, and problems. And do they have problems? Well, if they're motivated, they probably do have some problems. Talk to the buyers about the process of elimination. They will have many, many choices. And think about how they will finally arrive at the decision of which house that they're going to buy. And this process of elimination is going to be certainly something that will help them, but it's going to help you. It's going to be very confusing to them if they have too many choices and have not eliminated some of them and are trying to consider all of them at one time. Begin from your very beginning of the process to talk to them about making an offer when they find that right house. You want them to be very knowledgeable about the sales contract and any kind of financing information that you can give to them, and tell them why it's so important for them to be pre-approved so that they will be able to save their time and not look at houses that would not be within the price range that they could be approved for. So you want them to be knowledgeable about all of the forms that they're going to be looking at in the future. You could give them a sample sales contract in a package. Just make up a buyer's kit. Can have a nice folder with your card in there. Give them information about a home warranty. Each of your companies have different home warranties, and give them information about home inspections. You could give them a list of the different websites that they can go to find where these licensed home inspectors have their information on there, so the contact information. You can also give them a fair housing brochure. If the house that they're going to be looking for would be built before 1978, give them a lead-based paint brochures, brochure because they need to have that and so that they can go ahead and look at it. And there's other information that you can include in the buyer's kit. But just think about wherever you are, whichever company you're with, any of the forms that they're going to be seeing, then that needs to have a copy in that buyer's kit. The RECAD form, buyer agency form, anything that has to do with this transaction, with these buyers, they need to have that in their buyer's kit.